thank the students again on Wednesday night when we set that record with the student attendance. And Mike Mobley just told me that we had our 10th game of 10,000 plus, which is another school record. And we don't win this game without the fans tonight. I mean, we just don't. I mean, it was a game, momentum was up for grabs so much inside of this game. And we were rolling, obviously, and then all of a sudden the fouls, and it's like the air went out of the building. The air went out of us at the end of the first half. And we regrouped, and it was a game of runs. It was a game of adjustments. Exciting game, trying to figure out different things. But at the end of the day, when we had to get the stops, all right, and we had to get the finishes, our crowd went to another level. And that's the way it's been all year. That is the way it's been all year. And that's what you envision when you have a desire to build a program. You envision fans doing that with you, and I can't thank them enough. I really can't. As far as the game, I'll answer any question you have. That is a high level team that we played, extremely well coached. I told Eric after the game, it was an education preparing for him. And I've respected Eric for a long time, and his father, even though I only met him once or twice, I looked at as one of the great coaches that ever coached basketball. And Eric is a tremendous coach. And the way they play and the way he's gotten those guys to play is very, very hard to defend. And we wanted to get zoned when they were beating us off the dribble, but that three that Isaiah Joe took and missed, with the range that he took it from, I said it's just a matter of time before it hits that. We've got to guard this. We've got to live with this because they've got to guard us on the other end. But we got a lot of good ball from a lot of guys. I wish I'd have got Anthony out in the first half. I told him when I took him out in the second that was my fault, because he was running on fumes at that point. He doesn't agree with that, but at the same time, I knew we were going to need him for the stretch run, and I should have got him a blow in the first half, especially with the way the momentum of the game was changing. But we got a lot of ball from a lot of really good ball from a lot of guys, and Rayshon had a tremendous game. I don't want to miss anybody. Tyree Crump, it was very, very fitting for him to have the game that he had with the way that he has tried to help lead this team. Same with Jordan Harris the last couple of days. And those guys know that we were down to 2 home games. And they played like they were going to leave it all out there. And so Tamani, again, just steady as can possibly be in so many areas. I don't want to miss anybody, and I don't want to miss your questions, but very, very proud of the effort, very proud of the belief that these guys continue to have, and the way that they persevered when it looked like we may get the tide swung the other way.
Coach, can you talk about what we saw in Isaiah Joe, Mason Jones, Anthony Edwards, and Tyree makes maybe the biggest?
Well, those are high-level guards. I think that's why. There's probably 20 NBA teams here tonight. Those are high-level guards, and to me, they're different. But Jones is so good, and we didn't want to let him go right the way that he was going right. And he was beating us with his right hand. He was beating us with his left hand. He's hard to guard. And we had some things that we wanted to do in the game. At times we were able to do them. It was good. But then other times we got where we had the wrong switch. It wasn't that we were discombobulated. We just had maybe the wrong guy on him at that time based on the actions that they were running. Eric does a phenomenal job of getting the matchup that he wants. And he's coached that way for a long time. He coached that way in the NBA, he coached that way in the CBA, he coached that way at Nevada, and he's coaching that way at Arkansas. He's masterful at it. And he's got some really good guys that can get downhill and play, but we had some too. And so they had to guard ours too. And again, I thought when Anthony went back in the game, after getting him out there in the second half, he never lost stride inside of that. So a lot of high-level players on the court tonight, definitely.
Coach, you won 3 out of the last 4, and the other one was an overtime loss. So what do you think has been the biggest difference during these 4 games?
Well, I use the term, and I know a lot of coaches use it, but sometimes you can lose sight of it. The process, right? Well, if you're in a process, you've got to make progress in it. And I think that's what these guys are doing. And we can never lose sight of the fact that progress has got to be made in practice. Progress has got to be made in how we study film. Progress has got to be made in our X's and O's schemes. Whatever it is, progress has got to be made. And when you have a young team, you start to focus on 2 or 3 things, and maybe you get that in the game. Well, maybe you didn't spend as much time as these 2 or 3 things. Then all of a sudden it looks like you never spent any time on it, right? And I think we're starting to work through some of that, right? Where there's a little more experience of things. We're spending so much time trying to get situational basketball down for these guys, whether it's the opponent, whether it's what we're trying to run, whether it's what we're trying to come out of a timeout with, the movement, those type of things, that sometimes we lose that ability to just, okay, let's just play free. And sometimes you gotta figure out, okay, we gotta let them play free. But now if we're overstepping that, now we gotta bring it back and we gotta make sure we're getting the right shot, depending on where the game is. I think that's another area that we're making strides in. Because a couple of weeks ago, we lose to Texas A&M and South Carolina, we gave them 50 points in turnovers. And we only had 13. That's a huge, those things are starting to turn for us. And we've gotta continue to do that. We gotta deliver the basketball on time, on target. Our guys are doing a better job with some of the fundamental things that we try to really spend a lot of time with in practice.
Coach Weiss with just over 2 minutes left, they cut the lead to 1 both times. You guys answered it. Keystone and Tyree hits that 3. Just the composure, I guess, that your team kept at that point in time.
I'm very proud of him, right? I mean, the ball was moving. Anthony played with his head up. He really did. He scored. He passed the ball. He got to the rim. Settled a few times, but that happens. But he played with his eyes up. And I think when you're doing that, when he adds that consistently to his game of playing with his eyes up, not just here and there, but eyes up and being able to see and be able to make those decisions like that, that's another level for him. And we ask a lot of him, and I hope nobody's losing sight of how much progress he's making. I said this on the radio. I mean, when you're ranked like he is, and when you have the expectation level that he is, there is nowhere to go but down. I mean, there is truly, I lived this with Cody Zeller. There's nowhere to go but down in the eyes of the public when you're ranked that high. Well, you know what? He's going up. I mean, he's getting better all the time. And he's getting better at so many different things. And today, he persevered and he bounced back a couple of times in that game and made a huge difference.
Talking about that first half momentum, you went down the list of players a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about how Rayshawn specifically kind of put those 17 points impacted that momentum?
Well, he was really ready to play. I mean, the coaches were raving about how he was shooting the ball today in the walkthrough, and were raving about how he shot it yesterday, shooting it, and he was ready to go. I mean, he knew. I didn't even have to remind him that they were going to try to attack him defensively, right, today with the matchups, and his mind was really sharp on the game plan. He was talking. He was ready to go, and the ball was moving, which is where it's got to be for him. We probably could have got it to him a couple more times in the first half based on some of the matchups that he had, but he was really locked in, and he stepped it back up again. He was again running on fumes late, and we got him back in, and he did a great job to help us close the game.
Two more questions.
Coach, a few minutes left. It looked like Anthony and Mason Jones had their battle going, and there was a call that looked like it could have gone either way. It looked like Jones might have flopped and got a foul. What did you say to Anthony to keep him poised? Because he was visibly frustrated by that call.
Oh, next play, right? And it's just a matter of making eye contact. Took me a little bit longer to get that eye contact there. Next play, and take a breath, right? And take a deep breath. I actually saw him do it, because we'd set a play up for him to go, and he was going to come off double staggers out of the corner. And he just needed to regroup. You know, and he actually, for that age, it's really amazing how quickly he can regroup. He really can. And that's a trait that I hope he never loses, because it's hard to have that. And to have that at his age and be able to get back to base, you know, or get back to the level that he's got to be at, that's a hard thing, because he's competing, he's playing, and it's intense, it's hot, you know, it's all those different things. And that's innate, but at the same time, you got to teach him how important that is to get there. And I don't think he has any idea when I tell him that he has it, but someday he'll figure that out, and that'll be one of the things that really helps make him a great, great player.
Some of you guys shot nearly 57%, but is it nice to have a guy like
Really
Kamara
look at this.
in
Pips in for the game.
terms of his work on the offensive glass?
Yeah, I mean, he was active. I mean, that's what he's been. I mean, he's going to be such a good player in a sense. He does so many, we're not big, right? I mean, we're not a big team, so he's got to do a lot of different things. We're never going to get away from switching here if we can help it. But we've had to have guys we're asking them to do a lot size-wise that they wouldn't normally have to do if we were a bigger team. And so with that being said, how quick he is, how active he is, he's like a Swiss Army knife, you know, in the sense of different things he can bring to the table. But he can really move his feet. He's got great wiggle in the sense of the hips, and he can change direction quickly. And when it comes with the ball, eventually he's going to be a phenomenal driver, you know, when that day comes. But right now he does it more or less without the ball, and then he can get on the glass, he can slither in and get a tip dunk or things like that. So he's getting better and better. Thank you.
Yes, sir.